I'm Sha'il and we back at it. In this video, we're gonna dig deeper into the Zack TV story. Not so much focused anymore on the misinformation that was put out, though there was so much of it. Now we're gonna start focusing on theories closer to reality, with the final objective being knowing what really happened. If you have yet to subscribe to the channel, please do. And if you enjoy what I do, hit that like button. Let's get this algorithm popping.
There's something that I noticed, man, dealing with my boy Zack, rest in peace. And this is not to say that this is the reason why he was killed, but I think that eventually it would have led to a problem. I think that one big mistake that Zack made was allowing people to get on his interviews and diss other sets. I think that was a big mistake.
I agree. I think when you young and ambitious like Zack and you want to do so much and you feeling the love from everybody that probably shouldn't love you, it can easily make you believe that everybody got your back. It could easily make you believe that, oh, I'm good. I'm the one that got to pass. Me, I got to pass. This is Chicago. You never really know how somebody feels about you and they're never really going to show you. In this city, maybe not this specific case, but in this city, people are murdered by their best friends on a regular basis. Somebody that you loved and had love for no longer has love for you, and you the last to know it. And by then, it's too late. In this case, I have no doubt in my mind that T Streets and AMG Fresh had nothing to do with the murder of Zack TV. But that's something that happens in Chicago plenty. Plenty of hating. Little buddy see you with that girl that he want, and that's that. Plenty of, oh, why he got that jewelry and I don't. Plenty of why he driving that car and I don't. Some kids don't have a reason. Some kids just wake up one day and decide you the one. This is why throughout this series I've asked the question, how long could Zack have sustained this? You know what I'm saying? At what point do the dudes that he's covering not feel like, oh, well, he let them diss me? Well, I mean, he let you diss them too. And if you didn't take your shot in that video to diss them, that's not Zack's fault. I think he felt like he can continue that. And I being my age and coming from where I come from, I know that's just not possible. Resentment brews in this city, and sometimes you have no clue why. I don't think warring factions in Zack's videos is what got him killed, but it's something that could have easily gone wrong in the long run. And would have. To me, there's 100% chance.
Zack should have just, when those guys got in those interviews and was dissing people, man, Zack should have deleted that shit, man. Zack shouldn't have let them disses get by like that, because it started making guys feel like Zack was playing both sides. It started making a lot of guys feel like, Zack was an op to them.
That's the position he was supposed to play. He was supposed to play in the middle. He was supposed to ride the fence. It wasn't his business to say, yo, you stop talking about them like that, or you stop talking to them like that. Nah, that's on y'all. But in this city, people in this city just want you to be the bad guy. They don't necessarily need a reason why. They just want you to be the bad guy.
Man, the growth been crazy since we first started, man. You drop mixtapes after mixtapes, man. You putting on.
You gotta stay loyal, man. You ain't loyal,
Man,
bro.
stop playing, man. Every time I'm always here, man.
See, that's some passive-aggressive Chicago shit. You smile at a dude and tell him, man, you gotta be loyal, man. Insinuating that the man's not loyal because he let so-and-so say something about so-and-so. Seemed to me he was loyal to Chicago streets. Seemed to me he was loyal to Chicago music. Seemed to me he was loyal to Chicago rappers. He was loyal to y'all. He probably could have gone and got a job at Complex or something. Instead, he was in the trenches with y'all. But then we come at him with this passive-aggressive, you gotta be loyal, bro. I don't know, bro. I ain't dealt with that shit. People ain't unique. There's a big piece of the population that acts and reacts the same way. And it'd be this kind of passive-aggressive hate. It's what it is. It's hate. You said whatever you wanted to say in his videos. He went somewhere else. They said whatever they wanted to say. Now you offended. And Zack's the problem. Go deal with your ops. Chicago shit, man.
Tell his brother he ain't righteous. His brother Zack TV, he ain't righteous.
Why you don't tell him he ain't righteous? And swing on him.
Come on, dude. You gotta just blow saying that shit, man. I thought we go way back like four flesh,
Way
man.
back, but you ain't been righteous, folks.
So you'll let a motherfucker diss me in front of you, man?
Hell no.
Yeah, a motherfucker say so.
Can't nobody say nothing about Zack TV in front of me.
My man, my homie, man.
It's just like I expect for you when niggas say something about Cool.
You can't expect that from him. It's his job to go where he gotta go. It's his job to talk to who he gotta talk to. People that you can't talk to. That's his position. It was obvious. It was out loud. I don't know how y'all missed it.
Like I said, down so from now on, man, motherfucker can't diss me, man.
Look, he said from now on, basically saying, you did me dirty. You let somebody talk about me, but he let you talk about somebody too. Now, what happens when he got to go have the same conversation he's having with you somewhere else because they mad now because you said something?
And before Zack died, it's rumored that Zack had problems with, a couple of people in the game And just watching some of his interviews, man, it
Why? Because fools get indicted and don't want to take responsibility. Fools get hurting their feelings because so-and-so says something about them on a Zack video and they don't want to confront the problem. They want to confront the cameraman.
do I think that Zack had any ill intentions? No, I know he didn't have no ill intentions. You know what I'm saying? He was really just giving the people what they wanted. But it's like, either you gonna risk your life and give the people what you want, what they want, or you gonna play it safe, you know what I'm saying? Put out this content, and the people still gonna watch the interviews, but at the same time, it may not get as many views as you would like it to get.
What Zack was trying to do was be as honest as he could be to the camera. If they incriminated themselves, that's on them.
Why do you think you have these situations where you have people like Zack and FBG Duck getting killed and there's nothing ever happens in terms of like...
Same reason they don't solve any other crimes in the hood. They don't give a fuck.
I think about Zack often. Chicago PD, do they not care? Like, did they want them to die?
The short answer is yes. To a Chicago cop, what good is it that Zack shines a spotlight on what they would consider criminals? As far as they're concerned, that's the glorification of what they hate the most. It's a gang war out here. The Chicago PD is a gang. And as far as they were concerned, Zack was covering the ops. The only good that came from those videos and that spotlight for them was it created more beef. It created more talking. So-and-so said something about so-and-so on Zack's video. And now there's more of them killing each other. But that's all they care about is how many of them wipe each other out on a daily basis. And how many of them can they put in front of a judge that's going to wipe them out on a daily basis? Because on a daily basis, on the streets and in the courtrooms, black and brown men are thrown away every day. While the privileged have judges that empathize with them and don't want to see their lives ruined. But it's easy for them to throw away black and brown people.
All these cameras, it's 2021. And I think Chicago, one of the top surveillance cities, and y'all don't have nothing?
Nothing.
It makes you think.
There was I believe a Chicago PD cop that was criticizing Zack, that was saying like, he's out here glamorizing these criminals and glamorizing these gangsters and I could see that. Like from a cop's point of view, like I could see.
From a gangbanger's point of view, a gangbanger with a badge and a gun in their own colors.
They feel like we're keeping it going, glorifying it, when we're really just documenting.
Poverty still exists. The hood still exists. Keeping it going. How can we be keeping it going? It's been going for hundreds of years.
All the big drug kingpins I've ever interviewed, none of them have ever rode off into the sunset. They've all done massive prison time.
Though you commenters on the Surviving El Chapo series love to tell me how so many smart hustlers rode off into the sunset. Stop it. They rode off into the sunset, but now they had franchise restaurants, or they had this, that, this business, that business, the other business. But you don't know them for hustling. Same way you don't know the Kennedys for running bootleg liquor. But that's what they were. But that's not what you know them for. You know them for being American royalty. But they were just liquor dealers. They were just drug dealers like everybody else.
What hit you the most that happened in the drill scene that really just fucked you up?
Niggas killing Zack TV. Like, long live Zack TV. What? Hey, Chicago, what we doing, bro? Like, for real, like, no, all bullshit, like, what? That man wasn't nothing but a ball of positive energy, bro. I wouldn't be right here in front of you right now with my kids if it weren't for Zack TV, bro. Zack ain't into it with nobody, bro. He ain't nothing for nothing but opportunity and helping the next black man. That's all he owned. Like, Zack sent me money 2 days before that happened. Zack sent me $75. I still got the receipt right now. I never throw it away. I got the Western Union receipt. Niggas killed Zack. Like, why would you kill Zack? Like, what was your purpose, though?
A testament to his character and doing something for somebody that was down, locked up. They could have just forgot him and not sent him nothing. Put money on his books.
The man has so much positive shit going on. I used to talk to Zack every other day, bro. Feel me? Came up to the county to visit me type shit. Like,
I would talk to Zack TV and I would be like, man, because he loved New York so much. He's starting to expand in New York, and I was like, man, move to New York, man. You seem happier there. But he loved Chicago so much. Yeah. He wanted to help people from the city council to the foundation.
To his detriment. Same as Nip. You can't stay down in your own hood. Can't get no money. Don't bring no positivity. Don't nobody want to hear that shit. Always gonna get more love somewhere else.
That's the crazy part about it, because he could have been gone. Zack could have been Zack. Zack ain't have to be in Chicago. Fact. Zack could have been in fucking Beverly Hills somewhere.
Fact.
Rest in peace to the homie Zach, man. People have been pressuring me for a long time. Tell us who killed Zach. Tell us who killed Zach. And I was hesitant to do it for a long time because the sources that I had were not personally from the area. They were guys who had family and friends in the area, but they personally were not from there. So I was hesitant to do it for a long time. And eventually I caved to the pressure and put out the information that I had. And I had put it on this one particular set that later turned out to be incorrect. And so I pulled that video down and I had spoken.
That's a big mistake. This dude's pretty reputable. This is Windy City Report. He runs around doing this thing. But when you move too fast, as they did in Zach's case, as they did with T Streets, when you move too fast and you run your mouth, you get things wrong, you put people in trouble, you put people in danger.
Not only to Zach's people, but to the people from that set too, and apologize to them for putting that out there. It was a set that was into with Zach's neighborhood, and this set that the police put it on and that were there that night is also into it with Zach's neighborhood. So it's, all part of the same war, really. From 107th and Perry, they said it was a GD set, okay, the Perry Avenue gang. I'm pretty sure, though, that it's a mix of BDs and GDs. I think they have both with them. And this particular gang is the gang that the police went after in the murder of Zack TV. And they arrested several guys. The problem was, though, they released the guys that they arrested because of the law of mutual combat, which is a law that I was talking about in that video on my old channel, where those guys on the west side had gotten into a shootout. I mean, one of the sets had just pulled up and started blasting at the other guy's house, and then the guys in the house returned fire, and they had let the guys go because of this law of mutual combat. Now, later they did bring
a law that I never thought we had in Illinois, a law that I never thought you could utilize in Chicago, mutual combat. From my understanding, we don't have no stand your ground, no self-defense laws like that, and they talking about mutual combat.
Bring charges in that case, but it would cause the big public outcry, and the mayor and the police chief and everybody were, looking at the state's attorney, because it's the state's attorney's office, Kim Fox, who's in charge of, bringing these charges against these guys. Well, Zach's, the set that killed Zack TV, or that allegedly killed Zack TV, according to the police, they were let go because of that same law. And to me, this is totally unreasonable in this case, because Zack TV did not agree to fight these guys.
Absolutely.
He was not a combatant, and he was fleeing. He was leaving the scene. So how is he a combatant if he's leaving and they're chasing after him? To me, that's a completely...
Who knew you could get off on a murder in Chicago by using mutual combat? I guess the reason that they even started mentioning it was because somebody allegedly shot back from Zach's camp. Guess what? If I'm getting shot at and I got a pipe on me, I'm busting back too. I don't understand how that becomes mutual combat.
This law, to me, this mutual combat law is basically the only thing that I've seen this law actually do is just create an impediment to prosecution for the obvious perpetrator in case after case. I just see this law as just being a get out of jail free card for criminals. I don't see it as having any practical value or be applicable to today's Chicago streets. Like, apparently the law comes from back in the day to deal with situations that really aren't relevant anymore, man. But that's why Zach's killers got out. So this is being reported by the Associated Press, and shout out to Michael Tarn for this story. He said Zach was killed in 2018. He said Zach was a trailblazer in a perilous genre of gangland reporting called the Hood CNN. And he said that police never announced arrests in the shooting of Zack Stoner, who drew a national YouTube following. But police records obtained by the Associated Press reveal investigators believe that they solved his homicide years ago when they arrested members of the south side of Chicago's Perry Avenue gang, but prosecutors in 2019 declined to prosecute, and police were forced to release the suspects. So police say the Cook County State's Attorney's Office cited the possibility that the two sides in the shooting on May 30th, 2018 were, quote, mutual combatants, which is a disputed legal concept that's a throwback to duels between nobles or prearranged gunfights in the Wild West.
So if I got beef with somebody and me and him agree to go outside, stand in the street, go back to back 10 paces and spin, and I smoke him, I beat a murder charge? I beat a case?
So again, that law is meant to deal with situations totally different than what we're talking about here. So the prosecutors passed on charges on those grounds raises questions about whether Chicago gangs can literally get away with murder when it's unclear who initiated a shootout and who returned fire in self-defense. So Zack didn't even get off a shot. He had the FN with him, like I think under the seat, but he didn't even get off one shot. He had a .40 caliber handgun. So he was not a combatant. I mean, this is what I'm saying. But the case and arrest reports obtained in an open records request offer previously unreported details about what may have precipitated Stoner's killing after he left the crowded Clark Street Refuge bar. Relying on video and cell phone location data and ballistics on a bullet removed from Zack's brain, the police arrested 5 suspects aged 19 to 22 in 2018 and 2019 on probable cause of first-degree murder. So 2 of the suspects have since been killed. Another said, quote, "I didn't pull the trigger." And responding to AP questions about Stoner's case, the prosecutor's office issued a brief statement saying the evidence was insufficient to file charges, and it contends that police agreed. So on one Illinois court defined mutual combat as an agreement to fight or where sides in a sudden quarrel and in hot blood mutually fight upon equal terms. Some courts only allow defendants to argue mutual combat at sentencing and bids for leniency. So police said that Chicago prosecutors cited it last year in an initial decision not to prosecute suspects in a deadly West Side shootout between alleged Four Corner Hustlers factions. And the decision and the purported basis for it angered Mayor Lori Lightfoot. So letting gunmen act with impunity, she said, will send the city into chaos. So that's the incident that I was telling you guys about. But so the documents reveal 2 of Stoner's friends were passengers in his SUV when gunmen in the minivan attacked. One friend drew a gun and returned fire through the windshield.
Okay, so that confirms talk of somebody busting back.
In the minivan attacked. One friend drew a gun and returned fire through the windshield. Records don't allege that anybody in his SUV fired first. So Zack's guys were returning fire. Okay, so this is the part that doesn't make sense when it comes to the mutual combat, but the partially redacted records don't directly state a motive in the shooting. But Stoner didn't belong to a gang. He was not in the streets, but he was raised in the Goontown 10-5 MMG Marty Muggy gang territory. And so the AP is saying a statement in here that's very true. And shout out to Michael Tarn for saying this, because this is very true. He said, young black men are often wrongly assumed by gangs and police to be in the gang on their block.
Absolutely.
So other gangs may have viewed Stoner as a Goontown associate. And okay, so what he's saying is true in general, but about Zack, I have to disagree. Zack was widely known as a neutral guy. You know, everybody knew that he wasn't in the streets. Like, everybody knew that he was not a shooter for 10-5 MMG or anything like that. He was trying to stop the war. Like, everybody knew what Zack was on. But Goontown and Perry Avenue, both located on the south side, are longtime enemies. And for years, they posted rap videos on social media taunting each other. So police say that Perry Avenue, like Goontown, is a gangster disciples faction, and I kind of disagree with that. I think they have a mix of BDs and GDs, but enmity between factions under the same umbrella gang, they said, is common, with members expressing primary loyalty to their faction. So at the bar, here's what happened, man. This is what a lot of people have been wondering, and there's been a lot of interviews about this with, people that were.
Let's see how close this official, quote unquote, official account of what happened on in the bar is in comparison to AMG Bell D's version and Chicago King Dave's version.
In the aftermath. So Zack was kind of mingling with people at the club, okay, according to video posted. And so to many of the people, and there was over 100 people there, Zack was well known. This was like a crowd that knew who Zack was, okay? So these were not strangers. But the 2 factions that were there started to engage in a rap battle. And they started dissing each other in the rap lyrics.
I call bullshit. I don't see no rap battle happening. I believe what they were talking about earlier. Somebody felt however they felt because somebody was on stage and they weren't at whatever specific time. Dude brought his girlfriend out there to wish her a happy birthday. They shit on her. Tensions fly. I don't think it had nothing to do with no battle rap. That sounds like some shit that some reporter wrote or some cop that don't know what the fuck he's talking about. And then while this was going on, Zack, he walked out and he was asking his friends, let's get out of here. Like, let's take off. Because, I don't know, it was like, it was getting bad, and Zack was like, okay, it's time to go. And, the best decision would have not to have been there in the first place. But, I mean, he was making, at that point, the only decision that could be made was just that let's dip. Like, that's the right thing to do. So T Streets was leaving too, okay, at that particular time. And one of the videos shows him at the bar near Zack. So at 1:29 a.m., 2 blocks from the bar, the minivan kind of like pulled up alongside of Zack. The minivan. Not a tan car, not a gold car, not a bubble Chevy, a minivan.
With guns out of its windows, and bullets riddled Zack's SUV. One ripped through his shoulder, one struck behind his ear, lodging in his brain. When he crashed into a street lamp, his friends, one of whom had graze wounds, fled. And they later said that they feared that their opponents would attack again. So police arrived at 1:35 a.m. to find Zack alone, slumped in his seat. One officer checked his pulse. He was still alive. An officer found his .40 caliber pistol at his feet. It was loaded and he never got off even one shot. So a doctor pronounced him dead at 4:20 a.m. Hours before Zack's June 9th funeral, a gunman killed T. Streets on a South Side sidewalk, and an autopsy noted that a word was tattooed across his back, and that word was Zack TV. Okay, so T. Streets had Zack TV's name tattooed on his back. New York-based Committee to Protect Journalists expressed concern that Zack was killed for his journalism. And to be honest with you, that doesn't appear to be the case, but that others were with him raises the possibility that he wasn't the intended target. So police considered Zack's case to be closed.
Yeah, I don't think it had anything to do with his job. I think he just ran into some Chicago shit. As it says here, they caught 5 guys. 2 of them are dead now. They were never locked up because the DA looked at it as mutual combat, which shows you that Zack meant nothing to the city of Chicago either. He ain't mean shit to the police, and he ain't mean shit to the city of Chicago either.
Or they consider it to be cleared. So they clear under 30% of homicides in the city that occur, and cases are cleared when police deem them solved, though this doesn't necessarily equate to formal charges or prosecution. So that even though nobody's been prosecuted for this, the police consider this case to be done.
And guess who wasn't involved? Guess who didn't set up Zack TV? Can you guess? T Streets and AMG Fresh. They were victims the same way Zack was. The internet in this city had T Streets on borrowed time and AMG Fresh on borrowed time from the moment that Zack died. And there was plenty of people in the streets on, oh, fuck Zack, this, that, the other, disrespecting Zack. But none of y'all put him down. And y'all, I didn't hear none of that shit while he was alive, videotaping your favorite rapper on the block that you wish you could hang out on. They arrested 5 people on this, and none of those people was T Streets, and none of those people was AMG Fresh. I got 12 other videos of y'all telling everybody that that's who set him up. And here we are with 5 other assholes that got locked up for it and got let go because this murderous bitch of a city decided that that was mutual combat. They beat you to death and lock you up over weed or any type of party drug, but you get mutual combat for a murder in the street of a well-known dude that was reporting from the ills, from the ugly side of a city they don't want you to see. They want you to see the Gold Coast. They don't want you to see the O Blocks, the K-Towns. They don't want you to see that stuff. He was a problem for them. So they didn't give a shit about him either. But do you guys see the common thread here? It was not T Streets and AMG Fresh. You dumb bastards. You children. It had nothing to do with them. They were victims just like him.
And solved. And one challenge for investigators in a city that tallied nearly 800 homicides in 2021 is an ever-growing case backlog. So last year, guys, we had 800 murders. So, I mean, talk about the investigators needed to handle this. But another problem that they have is persuading witnesses to, forget about that don't snitch code and trust a police department that, obviously they have a bad relationship with. So political foes, the Chicago Police Union and suburban police chiefs have also accused the state's attorney's office, headed by Kim Foxx, of not being aggressive enough in prosecuting these cases. So when she was responding to the mayor last year, Foxx alluded to Chicago's grim history of wrongful convictions. He said, we cannot cut corners. And I agree with her on that, but these are not cases where they're cutting corners. I mean, this is like obvious, you know what I'm saying? And, the thing that kind of like really, to me, damaged the conversation and really took it down a very unconstructive path was when she accused, her critics, and I'm not a hater of Kim Foxx, by the way, but when she accused her critics of just criticizing her simply because she was a black woman. Well, her critic was Lori Lightfoot. I highly doubt that, Mayor Lightfoot was criticizing Kim Foxx because she was a black woman. The fact that the idea that their criticisms would be racially motivated is just not even.
I'm sure my mama and I'm sure your mama would have a problem with the district attorney if her baby got murdered in the street and the DA just chalked it up to mutual combat. I'm sure there's a lot of mothers in this city that ain't buying that shit. So when you're looking for reasons for your criticism, that might be it.
Remotely believable. But at any rate, man, in February she did announce charges in that Four Corner Hustlers case. But I mean, you got to remember, like, the guys had time to take off. And prosecutors are leaving the door open to charges in Zack's case. The statement this week said that they will review any additional information that's brought to us by police. But the thing is, man, I mean, there's so much time has gone by. It's like you give, the streets time to turn up, guys to, blow town. You give time for all type of stuff to happen.
Yeah,
it's like
so
you gotta bring this stuff right away. And if you can't get him on that, get him on something else, like, frisk him for a gun. I mean, these guys are carrying guns all the time. Get him on something like that just to get him off the street, to stop the back and forth, But so at the end of the day, man, it just shows, how messed up everything is, and how a lot of times the priorities, are not in order, man. They know they're the ones that did it, and the state. It was the same situation. The state let the case go, okay, and then like with me, the state, they hit me, but then the feds picked up basically the same case, more or less. And then, in this case, the state dropped the case.
So there you go. The state of Illinois didn't give a shit about Zack TV either. The city, the state, and the CPD didn't give a shit about Zachary Stoner.
Death penalty. To me, this is just a travesty, man, and justice has not been served. And they should book these guys again. Like, the Fed should step in and take the case. Take the evidence that CPD has and then book these guys. Because 2 of them are dead already.
Or the streets could have ate him in honor of Zack, but they didn't. Because the streets didn't give a shit either. They lost the one dude that was putting the spotlight on them, and then they did nothing for him in his death. If you have yet to subscribe to the channel, please do. And if you enjoy what I do, hit that like button. Let's get this algorithm popping. Peace.